Welcome to Rep Empower. I'm Dr. Phil Klein. For over 100 years, Star has manufactured easy-to-use, high-quality handpieces that really perform. Their handpieces, hygiene products, and electric systems are known the world over for dependability and performance. In this Rep Empower video, you will learn more about the latest innovations from Star, the Aeras 500 Elite, offering the elegance of air with the authority of electric. Joining us today is Dr. Brian Wilk, clinical advisor for DENTALEZ and founder of High Point Dental Medicine. In addition to growing a successful dental practice, Dr. Wilk has served as a clinical associate and instructor at the University of Pennsylvania School of Dental Medicine. He has also designed and developed several new products for the dental industry, from instruments to tooth whitening products, all of which have been sold worldwide. Dr. Wilk, thanks for joining us on Rep Empower.
Thank you. It's a pleasure to be here. Great to see you again, Phil.
So what are the key innovations of this handpiece line?
The first thing I noticed was the brightness of the light. I've never used a handpiece that illuminated the mouth as well and as evenly as the Aeras handpiece. The other thing is it's got tremendous torque, and it cut incredibly well, very smooth, very similar to the air-driven handpieces I've used in the past, but having that greater torque really made preparing teeth much faster.
What procedures or techniques are more efficient utilizing the cutting power found in Aeras handpieces?
Pretty much everything is more efficient. Having all the torque that this handpiece has, I thought it would really rival the electric handpiece. So certainly cutting through old crowns, especially zirconia crowns, is probably the most difficult thing that we encounter. Certainly even a cavity preparation is faster, but it's not really a noticeable advantage. So I was really curious after using the handpiece. So I got two identical crowns, and we videotaped cutting through an identical zirconia crown with brand new diamonds, and we signed them, side by side. And here's as I play this video here, we start, and the Aeras handpiece, you can, actually see the brightness of the light, which is pretty impressive. And then within about 15 seconds, the Aeras handpiece actually cut through the crown. It was not 100% scientific, but we cut in the same spot in each crown and got through the porcelain and through the lingual aspect of the crown in about 16 seconds. Meanwhile, the electric handpiece, certainly revolving at, I think, 40,000 RPM, took, I think, almost double the length of time, and we're at 22 seconds. It's still not through. It looks like about 30 seconds. So, it was twice as fast. And I think most people, like myself, think the electric handpiece actually cuts faster, but certainly through zirconia, that's not true.
Thank you, Dr. Wilk. We appreciate your input.
Thank you for letting me, first of all, test the handpiece. I've been using for 30 years, and this was truly an amazing handpiece. The light was phenomenal, and the torque was tremendous.
Joining us now is Jim Zann, a sales rep for DENTALEZ. Jim, thanks for joining us on Rep Empower.
Thank you, Phil, for having me this afternoon. Glad to be here and speak about some handpieces.
Who should sales reps target with these products?
Well, in my opinion, the sales target audience of the 500 series handpiece is really the entire industry. Anyone that is having difficulty on torque with an air-driven handpiece, or anyone that's having difficulty of the weight or the cost or some of the limitations that you have on electric handpieces would be a very good target. One of the things that Dr. Wilk had just showed in his video really was truly amazing. The Aeras 500 handpiece had the ability to cut, again, through one of the hardest materials in the industry it cut at half of the amount of time as it does with an electric handpiece. Now, why is that important? Time is money. So for any dentist that is having difficulty cutting through material that a regular air-driven handpiece won't do because of the torque, that's where this handpiece comes in handy. He mentioned all of the tactile response and the light and so forth and so on, but really what it comes down to is it's a great handpiece in terms of all of the attributes of air-driven, yet not only does it cut as well as an electric handpiece through tough material, it cuts faster. And not only does it cut faster, it cuts 2 times faster.
What should a sales rep say to a dentist about your new handpiece so that their customers quickly understand how it can help their practice, improve clinical outcomes, and patient satisfaction?
Well, I think the main thing, Phil, is that the questions and the series of questions looking for opportunities to promote the product are really going to be key in terms of the success of selling the product. The things that I would focus on the most would be, as we already discussed, would be the whole concept of understanding that time is money and understanding that there's a very important aspect of being able to cut everything that you need, not be frustrated with the amount of time that goes into laboring to be able to cut that. And that is something that happens quite often in dental, where a dentist will have one handpiece and it's just not cutting, so they have to reach for another, or the turbine, and they get frustrated. So that would be the first thing. The second thing would be in terms of the weight balance of an air-driven handpiece. An air-driven handpiece, as you have on the 500 series, is one that basically, in terms of the swivel to the handpiece, it's very much more lightweight. It's about half the weight or less of an electric system. And basically that enables that person to have much, much less hand fatigue at the end of the day. Now, why is that important? 52% or now more of graduating dentists are females. And why that makes an important aspect of the handpiece is, quite simply, many of the electric handpieces are too heavy and too bulky. What you did hear Dr. Wilk mention was he really liked the axis of the handpiece. And that's a very key point, because when the handpiece is too big, it's not only tough to use at the end of the day because of carpal tunnel and hand fatigue, but it's also harder to see and have access as far as where you're working. Another question that I would ask would be having to do with both the cost and what I would call return on investment of the electric handpiece versus an air-driven. Air-driven is very simple. You have a swivel and you have a handpiece. You don't have the expense of having a controller, a motor that has a high amount of expense, and tubing. It's simple. It's what they've always been used to, and it's going to be significantly less. It's probably, all told, about 1/4 of the cost of an air-driven handpiece and swivel as it would be for that attachment and tubing connector controller in that same operatory. One last series of questions that I think the sales rep needs to have the dialogue and think about the questions that they're asking the practitioner is going to have to do with the topic of patient sensitivity. Patient sensitivity may not be something that the dentist thinks about while using a handpiece, yet it's absolutely critical. Having a good handpiece that has high torque and clinically smooth and precise cutting ability has a direct impact onto that patient's experience in the dental office. And basically what it really accounts to is when you have a better product and it's able to be more precise, what this handpiece is doing is it's allowing for less thermonecrosis and thermal buildup and heat buildup, quite frankly, of any given tooth structure. So that equates directly to the experience of the patient, and the patient will feel less chatter, just a better experience where it's less pain for the patient.
Thank you, Jim. We appreciate your input.
Thank you, Phil. I appreciate having the opportunity to discuss this great, wonderful Aeras 500 series handpiece, which is really the best handpiece in the industry.
Thanks for joining us on Rep Empower. See you next time.